Can you still hear the rousing applause crackling through your old black and white television as hopeful amateurs took center stage, hearts pounding like the drum roll before a big reveal? For so many families across America, talent shows of the 60s were more than just a weekly TV tradition. They were a window into a world brimming with possibility. The scent of popcorn filled kitchens as children practiced their own routines during commercials, dreaming of dazzling hosts and sparkling stage lights. Variety shows like the Ted Mack Amateur Hour and the original Amateur Hour showcased singers with big dreams, ventriloquists with suitcase sidekicks, and tap dancers whose feet barely touched the floor. In a time before instant fame on social media, these stages offered the ultimate shot at stardom, and every performance was a leap of faith. Do you remember trying your luck at a school, talent show, or voting for your favorite contestant right from your living room? Join us as we revisit those unforgettable nights when all you needed was courage, a spotlight, and a little bit of hope. Step back for a moment into an age where Saturday nights hummed with something electric, when television felt as new and wide open as America's dreams. The story of talent shows in the 60s begins in an era when the living room was a theater and families gathered around a single screen, transfixed as ordinary people dared to reach for the extraordinary. But how did this magical format, both competition and celebration, find its way into millions of homes? Where did the notion begin that anyone could step onto a stage and captivate a nation? To trace the roots, we actually have to go farther back, to the traveling vaudeville troupes and the wildly popular local radio amateur contests of the 1930s and 40s. Before television transformed the landscape, towns and cities across the United States buzzed with the energy of traveling talent shows. Young tap dancers, warbling crooners, knife throwers, and novelty acts who were local legends for one fleeting night. The success of The Major. Bo's Amateur Hour on radio in the 1930s, for example, hinted at America's appetite for the thrill of discovery. Even then, it was regular folks, often with no professional training, who stole the audience's hearts and votes. It's surprising to think that many of these hopefuls reached millions across scratchy radio waves well before TV could broadcast a single image. But everything began to change with the rise of the cathode ray tube. After World War II, television transitioned from novel curiosity to household necessity, and with it came a fresh wave of opportunity. Producers saw an irresistible formula blend the unpredictability of live performance with the intimacy and immediacy of home viewing. The original Amateur Hour, first a radio staple, made the jump to television in 1948, capturing imaginations. With its spinning wheel and direct appeal to viewers, by the 1960s the show had become an institution, drawing as many as 15 million viewers on Sunday evenings. Just think, at that moment, someone's neighbor, mail carrier, or local junior high student might have been performing for the entire nation, literally overnight. There's a twist in this story that might surprise you. Many of the iconic TV talent shows of the 60s were direct descendants of Depression-era radio formats. The sense of community, hope, and escapism, so critical during hard times, transitioned neatly into the glowing optimism of post-war America. The shows became patchworks of local pride and national spectacle. Do you remember when your town buzzed with excitement because a local boy or girl was headed to New York to be on television? Even if they didn't win, communities rallied behind them, watching with bated breath for a flash of recognition on those flickering screens. Throughout the 60s, talent shows began to carve out a style that was uniquely their own, sincere, sometimes unpolished, decidedly American. Unlike the slick variety hours hosted by celebrities, these shows made stars of ordinary people. Their earnestness, their hopes, even their nerves were all on display. Occasionally an act would go awry, a forgotten lyric, a tap routine that stumbled, but the audience seemed to love them even more for it. If you had ever dreamed of stepping out of the chorus and into the spotlight, these shows sent a message. You could. A little-known fact from this formative era is that the prize money for winning acts was surprisingly modest, often just a few $100s and a trophy. But what people truly craved wasn't the cash, it was the chance to be seen, to have their moment in the sun. In an age before viral videos, national television exposure meant everything. Just imagine the thrill of getting a telegram or phone call from New York City, inviting you to compete on the big stage. Do you remember rooting for a contestant who seemed to be just like you? The boy next door with a dusty guitar, or the girl from the next county over who sang with such raw feeling. Another surprising detail, some future legends before they were household names passed through these very shows. A teenage Pat Boone sang on the Ted Mack Amateur Hour, and Gladys Knight's very first national appearance was on the program, at the age of only 8. These were shows where lightning could strike, but only for those brave enough to audition. Stories abound of hopefuls waiting for hours in bustling theatres, clutching frayed sheet music, hoping for that elusive callback. Talent shows weren't confined to New York or Los Angeles either. The phenomenon sparked local amateur contests coast to coast, in school auditoriums, church basements, and county fairs, mirroring what they saw on TV. Regular folks became judges and cheerleaders, and suddenly hidden talent was everywhere. Did you ever try out for a local show or encourage your kids to display their skills? By the end of the decade, talent shows had achieved a near-mythic status. They were woven into the fabric of family life. Some viewers planned their entire Sunday schedule around watching Amateur Hour. There was a sense of unity and excitement, of gathering together with neighbors or calling relatives after a performance to compare favorite acts. The power of these shows was not just in finding stars, but in igniting hope, the thrilling idea that someone just like you could step into the spotlight and change their life. But why did this format resonate so deeply, and how did television shape and refine it into a true national ritual? In the next part, we'll take a closer look at the technological marvels and clever features that made 60s talent shows unlike anything that had come before. Why did viewers feel such a deep connection to the contestants, and what behind-the-scenes innovations kept the magic alive week after week? Stay with us, the stage lights are just warming up. As the curtain slowly falls on our journey through the unforgettable talent shows of the 1960s, it's impossible not to be swept away by the memories they evoke. Both the anticipation of watching new acts take the stage and the warmth of sharing those moments with family huddled close around a glowing screen. We've traced how these programs evolved from their humble beginnings in radio and local contests, finding their home on television and in the hearts of millions. Whether it was a schoolgirl nervously plucking her guitar strings or a barbershop quartet hitched up in bow ties, the magic lay not in polished production, but in the courage and sincerity on display each week. We remembered how the familiar faces of the original Amateur Hour, the excitement of casting your vote from the living room, and the buzz of a neighbor's child making the journey to New York fostered a sense of belonging and hope. Talent shows weren't simply about discovering the next big star. They were an open invitation for anyone with a song, a trick, or just a dream to step into the open, even if only briefly, and be celebrated for who they were. As the 1960s rolled on, these shows reflected and shaped America itself, a place of optimism, change, and boundless opportunities. While some contestants went on to become household names, most simply returned to ordinary lives, forever changed by the chance to shine, their stories woven into the collective memory. The laughter, nerves, missed notes, and surprising triumphs reminded us all that greatness can spring from unexpected places. Family. Rooms echoed with applause and encouragement. Somehow the victories and heartaches on screen felt like our own. Even those who never dreamed of performing still found themselves inspired, maybe even dusting off an old instrument or recalling childhood ambitions. Looking back today, when entertainment is endlessly accessible and competition shows are slickly produced with global reach, it's easy to forget the special charm and democratic spirit of those early talent shows. They welcomed everyone, flaws and all, letting real people shine for a moment in the spotlight. There's something enduring about that sense of possibility, a reminder that talent isn't just the domain of the already famous, but lives. In little towns and big cities, in the neighbor next door, and in ourselves. What did those nights mean to you? Did you gather with siblings on the couch and pretend to be contestants? Or perhaps send in a postcard vote for your favorite performer? Maybe you still remember a local friend who made it to television or tried out for a show yourself. What is your most cherished memory connected to those evenings when the nation watched together? Dreaming is one. If these memories stirred something in you, I'd love to hear your stories. Share in the comments the moment from a talent show that stayed with you, whether it's a particular act, the excitement of voting from home, or simply the joy of being together with loved ones. And if this nostalgic look back brought a smile, please remember to like this video, subscribe for more journeys into the music, fashions, and traditions of yesteryear, and share with friends or family who would appreciate a trip down memory lane. More celebrations of the American spirit and the wonder of bygone eras are just around the corner. There's a special kind of magic in those moments when the spotlight found someone new, the applause thundered from living rooms across the country, and hope swelled in ordinary hearts. May we always remember the thrill of discovery and the belief that the next great story might just begin on a quiet stage with a trembling hand and a dream waiting in the wings.